It's great to be here. Warm and heartfelt welcome to the beautiful city of Nice, to your forum. This is your forum. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your interest. And thanks for your efforts that we are shaping the way forward together. As you've seen in our intro video, we are experiencing a life in truly exponential times. Long gone are the times when people debated on a global level whether the need is for 5 or 10 mainframe computers. It seems ridiculous at these times that only 15 years ago, roughly, mobile phones cost was 10,000, and people said that's never going to take off. Well, most of you have traveled here, many of you in rather complex journeys. And the travel industry is actually a great example of how digital technologies are completely revolutionizing an industry and a complete ecosystem around this industry. Just take a few years back, Sabre, the big reservation system of American Airlines, was worth more as a technology component, a platform, than the whole airline in itself. They commanded who sat on which plane, which codes were out, what the prices were. Now that is gone. Booking.com is commanding the prices on airlines, on hotels, taking a fair or unfair share up to 25% of the proceeds of a hotel room. And yet, this is already a model going out of fashion again, with things coming in like Uber, and Uber is going out of fashion as we speak with things like Charoo.com, where private people are networking to sell and buy individual pieces of short-term mobility. Whether we like it or not, ladies and gentlemen, technology, digital technologies are transforming the world we are living in and the businesses and the business ecosystems we are participating in. The 25 billion connected devices of the intro video is rather a low number. If we take connected sensors into the game, we are rather talking about 200 billion connected sensors. And quite frankly, it's interesting that IP version 6 has an address range now that we can address every single atom in the world. Now, I'm not sure who's counted it and what we would do with it, but I'm pretty sure nobody had a clue with IP version 4 that we'd ever run out of that address range. So something's going to come here. Think only of this hospital example also in the intro video. Well, that's a very entry and basic type of approach. Embedded, connected things like insulin pumps, heart pacemakers, nano drugs, nano devices, personalized medicine, they will all be part of these ecosystems and accelerate the transformation. So every aspect, or almost every aspect of our lives and economy will be transformed in itself, but moreover, they will be connected and meshed up in a fabric of interwoven, dynamically generated and orchestrated processes in a fabric of ecosystems communicating with each other. The new business model will be a final change where we are already in the middle from an industrial age, physical owning economy into an information age, sharing economy. Sharing is much more efficient. Probably, I made the test yesterday with a smaller group. Who bought the plane just to come here? Okay, good. Glad. Maybe there are people who are buying planes for that. But actually you bought a slice, a seat, a time thing. And that's obviously much more economical than doing the whole thing. And we will run out of some of the resources. Urbanization is giving us more dense energy patterns, more dense congestions, more dense CO2 patterns. We are stealing our time, being clogged up there. And many of these digital ecosystems are coming up with solutions, organizing the traffic better, telepresence, dynamic business models, less time lost there, just cities organizing so that we are using 20% less energy. There's so many other things that we are solving with that. There's another very important factor pushing this and accelerating is, it's under the label consumerization. Again, long gone are the days where the companies and the product designers were at the center of all the architectures and business designs. We need to transform that inside-out view into an outside-in view, where the consumer, the customer, is becoming the center of attention and the center of the design of our processes and systems. Why? Because they have a thing like a mobile phone, a digital intelligent device, and they're going to vote our businesses with their pocketbooks connected to these devices. Instant gratification, ladies and gentlemen, at the time and location where the demand is arising, it will be key. And let me take an example how that really works. Nice picture, huh? Actually, I'd rather be there, although Nice is really nice, being a keen skier and loving the mountains. But just bear with me for a second as I walk through this example. There is this young gentleman, snowboarder, some crazy people, but not completely crazy, standing up there, having a hard day, maybe had a few beers the evening, last difficult run. Says, well, pretty risky. So he's taking off his gloves and says, maybe I'm insuring myself for this single last run. Now just imagine it's minus 10 degrees up there, he's taking off his gloves, so you probably have 10 seconds, maybe 15, to cut the deal. So the first matchmaking needs to take place there, so he's trying to find somebody who's offering him that insurance, and insurances need to be out, or providers of that service need to be out there to make this first matchmaking. And then a dialogue, and everything in these 10 seconds starts to emerge. Well, here we are, there you are, let's talk. Okay, can we access your data? Okay, he says, fine. Okay, then he says, first level, oh, you've got these 3 apps on your phone, like Run Keeper, Ski Tracks, etc. Are we allowed to access the GPS data there? Are we allowed to access the data of your mobile phone provider who's logged your mobility data? So are we allowed to look at your financial records and tracks, etc.? So you kind of start to aggregate the data that you are needing to access the risk profile of this person. You're determining skiing skills or boarding skills levels. Where has he gone? How fast? How much time did he fall down? Then you're saying, okay, where is that person? Is he still up on the hill and moving correctly, or halfway down and broken the leg already? It's kind of a bad idea to insure somebody who's already broken their leg, right? So, and how is the steepness and the difficulty of the slope he's trying to go? Is there a lot of rocks, trees? What's the snow composition? What's the avalanche report? And again, we're still in these 10 seconds. where a classical underwriting needs to take place, you analyze that, say, okay, this is the risk, this is the premium. So I'm offering him $20 for the next 20 minutes. He says, well, that's pretty good. Now my fingers are freezing, so it's still fine. Says, boom, okay, the deal is done. Then on a whole back pain, you probably need to split this $20 between 7 different parties who have participated in this orchestrated thing. There is an additional service going with that because he's accepted that we track him on his slope, and he is falling. Emergency services are automatically called and deployed to the lure of the accident, but hopefully he's gone down safe and we can have a great beer and go on. Ladies and gentlemen, is this a fantasy? Is it a dream? Actually, in a slightly toned down version, this exists already today. And in an even simpler one, if you're buying a car these days, insurances, they are bidding for your business on your mobile phone while you're buying the car. So these types of things are really becoming a commonplace. More interestingly is, though, that the cost is lower, the price is higher, and the remaining margin for the whole transaction is higher, while the customer usually is happier because you've got them on their sweet spot when they wanted something within 10 seconds. So it's a great example of a win-win-win-win, whoever was in that chain. Now, obviously, this gives also a lot of challenges. Well, how to do that? How to deliver best service on the sweet spot? How to find these people? How to make the right customer profile to find them, how to orchestrate, how to concatenate on the fly within a very short time, how to analyze all these amounts, massive amounts of data, how to go into data, release the data at the end of the transactions, how to satisfy non-repudiation, that the guy doesn't say, well, that was not me, that was my brother, or no, somebody else pushed the button, reverse the transaction. So there's a lot of things coming into that. And in the end, also quality of service. If the emergency services need to be called, well, that competes in net neutrality terms with the restaurant next door where 2 of his colleagues are showing each other Dropbox-based video streams or whatever. How to compete with that the ambulance or the helicopter is not not sent out because the bandwidth is used up by someone. So there's a lot of questions and there are also answers. Many of these challenges, ladies and gentlemen, are completely shared between the various ecosystems. They are overlapping. So, with other words, we need to forge non-traditional partnerships between different departments in large enterprises, between different traditionally siloed or independent vertical industries. And also, we need to be able to monetize these products in a way that a multi-dynamic industry and multi-stakeholder string is coming to fruition. Now, your forum, ladies and gentlemen, has a great tradition to do exactly that. And where are we as communications industry at large who are sitting in this auditorium with that? Is that good news or bad news? Well, this is absolutely great news because none of all that happens without a basic communications backbone. None. So I think we as an industry, the communication service providers will become not the dumb pipe, will become the intelligent digital dial tone forging and building the backbone of the digital economy as it emerges. But we need to make that happen in a financially and economically viable way. We need common approaches. We need to share the burden of putting all that together. We need architectures and standards so that we can interconnect these ecosystems. And here again, the forum with frameworks, with common process models, with common data models, has a great start, and we are evolving into the digital ecosystems reference architecture to take care of all of these elements for the underpinning of the economic changes. Let me just quickly go through that. On the bottom you see the infrastructure layer. There we need to take care of dynamic, on-demand, cloud, virtual, elastic, global device, including services and structures. One of them is obviously the network functional virtualization area, software-defined networks that are the underpinnings of the elasticity of the economical models to make all that happen. We also need, on the next layer, processes, data models, service orchestration methodologies, so that we can put all that together for an ecosystem such as smart cities, smart mobility, mobile finance, and so on, which are more use case oriented, but there are also others which are more horizontally oriented and neutral to these, like data analytics or multi-party small increment payment and settlement systems. Lastly, we also need to manage the omni-channel approach to have to achieve a good customer experience. Again, just this simple example of the snowboarder, if we are doing exactly the same thing, absolutely perfectly, but it needs 10 minutes, well, the customer is not going to be very satisfied. We'll never go to a deal because he's going to put on his gloves again and then try to do something else. So we need to expose that in the proper way, omni-channel, dynamic, going from one to the other. And we need the backplane to connect all this with the non-functional and functional or infrastructure functional services like security, like protection, like the timeliness of these things in an end-to-end manner. Just think of the notion of autonomously driving cars. You need to guarantee millisecond latency there, because it's no value if your navigation system tells you, well, you had an accident, you overrun somebody 10 seconds ago. Well, ideally you stop before that happens. So, is this a dream or reality? Again, interesting question. Well, we have great examples that underpin that we are already living and experiencing and constructing this world. Just look at the catalyst programs that we are driving here collectively. Look at the hackathon that has happened in the last 2 days here in Berenice, addressing within, I think, 36 hours or 24 hours, the construction of such ecosystems and the connection between these ecosystems. So this digital ecosystem reference architecture is allowing you to really do that on the fly in a dynamic and good way, and to construct e-commerce at large. Our vision of the forum is really that we co-shape the wave of business and technology as this wave of transformation unfolds. We want to develop our forum, your forum, on 3 directions. First is engage up. We have to recognize that while technology is very important, nothing of all these nice ecosystems is happening without proper technology. But nothing of that happens without the proper understanding and guidance from leadership, be it government, be it the regulator, be it the executive rooms in the businesses or the boardrooms who have to make these tough decisions of giving up some of the highest profitable, well-honed areas of their business and cannibalize them themselves into moving into new value creation. Because if you don't, somebody else will. So this is very important that that goes hand by hand, and we want to move on that axis into this engagement between the technical piece and the business piece. We also want to expand laterally, if you will. Multifunction. None of this happens with just the CIO or CTO saying, well, this is the way it goes. Supply chain is in there, manufacturing is in there, marketing is in there, the finance is in there. These models demand all sorts of new things, but also within the departments, the functions in a company or in a government or in any constituency, we need to collaborate. Moreover, as we've seen, the industry boundaries are blurring because we concentrate on the value exposed to the end customer, be it a business customer or an individual customer. So we need to go lateral and understand how that comes together. You'll see later on some of the keynotes an automotive example, so I'm sparing you with that. And then lastly but not least, we also want to expand and extend our reach more to the east, more to the vibrant markets where more people are living. Their economies are growing very fastly for all sorts of reasons. The technology adoption rates are great. And to get back to the ultimate and central asset of the forum, kind of a watering hole where you are competing with each other out in the wild, in the market, very fiercely, but coming together, congregating around the forum to share the burden of building the ecosystems, to building the infrastructures, to make all that happen. Now, this means all massive change for all of us. Change is usually pain and gain. Like the 15th century philosopher Count Machiavelli already said, and let me read this to you, nothing is more perilous, difficult to execute, and uncertain in its success than the introduction of a new order of things. Enemies are all those who are flourishing under the old order, have the laws at their side, and you only get lukewarm supporters of those who are the beneficiaries of the future. Well, glass half full or glass half empty. Ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe that we have massive opportunities ahead of us. But, like in any business, success breeds the arch enemy of itself, complacency. Probably many or most of you remember the movie Jaws. Jaws 2 especially. Just when you thought it's safe to go back to the water. Well, just when you're thinking you really got it, you have the winning card, nobody can beat you, somebody's coming around and changing the game completely. Now, well, is this fair? Is it unfair? Bloody hell, it's unfair. But that's the wrong question. This is happening. So we have to move faster, grab the opportunities, forge the right partnerships, know how and where to cooperate and where to compete. And here is your forum just to help you doing that. We are the place. TM stands in the future for Transformation and Monetization Forum. We will help you and we will create the connection of all those digital ecosystems together. And as a part of our EEE Moving East strategy, I can also proudly announce that we've partnered with Huawei to be a strategic partner on delivering their Huawei Cloud Conference in Shanghai in September this year. And we are coming back to Nice as usual in the original time slot in May 2016. So with that, please enjoy, network, build partnerships, pick up new ideas laterally from wherever they come on, and see you next time in Shanghai. Thank you very much.